Dragons defeat the Titans 28-4. And I've got to be honest, guys, I tipped the Titans, but I actually did put money on Dragons 13+.
7.25.
Thanks for coming, baby. Thanks for coming.
Good punting, that.
It's you know, some of us get rugby league, some of us don't. It's just the way it is. It's almost a natural gift.
So you tip the Titans, you bet on the Dragons.
Because you know what?
Splinters Kempy sitting on the fence.
No.
Yeah, I've seen it all.
Yeah, 2 steps behind me. You know what it is? Bloke, huge community. I didn't want to bring the price in. The
big market manipulator.
There might be an inquiry into my manipulation. Apologies. To be honest, though, the more I thought about it after our Monday show, and then obviously seeing Foreign got ruled out, or that he was in doubt. I thought he was in doubt or whatever. That was when I was like, ooh, okay, this is going to be tough. And then I don't know, just as the week wore on, I was like, Dragons look pretty good. Anyway, all that aside, Dragons looked absolutely outstanding. We spoke about it earlier, but the fact that they look to have found an identity so quick is a testament to a guy like Shane Flanagan that has absolutely whipped them into shape. They, all the players where you would ask the question, if this player can have the best year of their career, these guys might be dogfighting for the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th position. Well, in one game, and it's only one game, but there's an argument to be made. Sloan had the best game of his career. Lomax had the best game of his career. Flanigan was outstanding at 6. Hunt looks like he's fully committed. Molo was great. Sorry? Little was great. So like all those questions, at least for round 1, you couldn't have got a more resounding positive answer as the Dragons found.
Yeah, for sure. I was very impressed with them. I actually, I had a look at the Canberra Raiders and their performance and their huge win over the Newcastle Knights this week, and I thought, very impressive, but a lot of kicks, a lot of offloads, a lot of sort of unorthodox footy. The Dragons look like every single person knew their role and just had it all down to a T.
Honestly, they had some of the more slick attack compared to any side in round 1.
Yeah, I thought they were very impressive. I thought the halves both looked in sync. Jacob Little looked unreal.
What about Fatella Mariner and Eisenhuth?
Yeah, I tell you what, it sounds funny saying this about a premiership winning coach, but far out, how high will the stocks rise of Shane Flanagan if this side even is competing for a top 8 spot by the end of the year? And,
he's walking in to a roster that he didn't really build. And he's been playing catch-up pretty much of like going in, recruiting. He got Eisenhuth late, I'm pretty sure. He got Fatella Mariner, he got late. Leilua, late. Obviously, Leilua didn't play. What a performance by the Dragons. And it just shows you that, teams that can look, just looking at their roster, I just don't know how they score points, or just one or two little additions can completely change our outlook. Then you go to the other side, Jaden Sewer, looking back to career best form as well. Yeah. I thought they were absolutely outstanding. Their explosiveness through the middle, their aggression, their line speed. They ticked all the boxes they needed to tick. I really thought the Dragons, they were probably, I don't know if they were the best team of round 1, but they were absolutely the most surprising performance of round 1. Now, did I think they could go up and beat the Titans? Of course I did. But did I think they'd do it in such a dominant fashion? I don't think so. Really, really impressive.
Yeah, I'm blown away. I thought I tipped them for the Wooden Spooners. I'm sure a lot of us did. I do want to see this over a long period of time, obviously.
That's a given, yeah.
That's a given,
sure. Yeah.
Same with any other team in this competition. But, you couldn't ask the Dragons to tick any more boxes than what they have already. I mentioned it before. Leilua, Laurie, Harmsele. 3 proper forwards in this competition to come back in.
3 starting forwards, essentially.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I did think it was interesting, like Jack DeBellin sort of moved into a front row forward role and Tommy Eisenhuth jumped into like a 13 role.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming in any way, shape or form, but God, it looked good. I think Tommy Eisenhuth has given him a real headache to work out.
And DeBellin only playing 57 minutes. Usually he's bloody, way more minutes than that.
Well, if you listen to Kyle Flanagan, whenever he was commentating a Dragons game last year, he constantly bagged how many minutes Jack DeBellin was playing.
Yeah,
it was over, so that didn't surprise me because he was very vocal about it in commentary last year, and it could be much better for JDB.
Well, again, it's that idea of, sometimes less is more. Like forcing your top tier players to get out there and just absolutely get through the washing machine every week. It's just not good long term unless they are of, elite nature, very young, and it just seems to suit their game. What do you think of the Dragons, Amy?
Well, I was a little bit concerned, if I'm honest with you, because I was kind of hoping they would be taking the spoon away from the Tigers. We've been battling with them for the last couple of years, but geez, they look good. You mentioned it. I didn't think they would win 13 plus either, but they did. They were pretty good against a great outfit in the Tigers in the trials. So we knew that they were actually had their stuff together, going into the season.
So you reckon that means the Tigers are even better because they were against
You wait till we go down to Canberra Stadium, ambush at GIO this weekend. So we'll see how that goes. But they were good, and you're spot on. Like, they've got a lot of guys there with a lot of potential, but very rarely last year in particular, or the year before, did they all have a good game at the same time. But we saw, like, you've peeled off all the names already, but they all probably played the best game that we've seen a lot of them play in the last 12 months. So Guru's spot on. The consistency will be the thing. But, even if 3 or 4 of them are having good games like that, week in, week out, they're potentially going to be a handful. They got the Dolphins this week, who were a little bit underwhelming in their first game as well. So every chance they could be 2-0, and all of a sudden looking nowhere near as bad as people thought. They've already eased a little bit in the spoon market. They're out now to about $3.70, which unfortunately leaves the Tigers there at outright favourites. But that's a big move after 1 week of footy.
Yep.
The Tigers became spoon favourites. They didn't even play on the weekend.
Yeah, I know.
And they got a win. They got 2 points.
Yeah. Well, all should be good in the world. It's round one, end of round 1, Monday morning. The Tigers are 9th with a 4 and against a 0. We're back where we belong. So.
They had the Dragons. So going into this game, fast, dry, great point scoring service against the Titans, who have a really good attacking team. Granted, 2 of their biggest attacking weapons in Fafita, 4 and out. On top of that, Jaden Campbell. They had, I think it was 13 or 14 errors, the Dragons. You sort of look at that and you go, geez, could have been ugly. 1 line break conceded against the Titans in this game. That's outstanding.
And it's not like the Titans don't have bloody good outside
Still
backs that can do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So really good performance. I mean, off the top, a massive credit to Sloan. We've spoken about him quite a lot, how much we love his potential, but it's just been so up and down, and a lot of pressure heading into round 1. And even though, I'm not sure about you boys, but I would have personally started the year with Lomax at fullback. You've got to give Flanno credit. Like, he went all in. This was a big decision that... Look, the safe decision for Flanagan heading into round 1 is to put Lomax at fullback. That keeps the media off his back. That keeps the fans off his back, because it's like, the fans essentially were like, we have to try something other than Sloan because it just hasn't seemed to work. Whereas Flanagan's gone, nah. Yes, it's been a few years now where Sloan's been a bit up and down, but I'm going to back you all the way. And at this stage, it has paid off big time. Now, the thing is not a single person watching rugby league is surprised at Sloan playing like this. We all know he's this good. The challenge for Sloan now is a month of this, is 2 months of this, a whole season of this. That's going to be the challenge for Sloan.
Yeah, and I would assume, mate, Tyrell Sloan's probably learned the hard way over the last 2 or 3 years that I'm sure he would know that's his challenge. I mean, for me, like, watching that, 3 tries, very impressive. I just love that he had 1 error in the game.
Yeah.
That's the thing that stood out to me. And you just want to see, he doesn't have to score 3 tries every week, but if he can just be solid and show a jersey and just be consistent every week for the next 8, that's how Tyrell Sloan will go places. Because, mate, like the stuff he can do naturally, that's the hardest bit for guys to get.
I think we all sat here in the preseason. We're all pretty adamant. We're like, put Sloan in reserve grade, let him, fine tune his game, give Lomax the crack at fullback. And as you said, Kempy, it's a 1-game sample size. He was quite good in the second preseason challenge game, but small sample size. But so far, you said, like, Lomax didn't even spend time at fullback in the trials. We're like, surely you get him a bit of time there. Yeah. And Flanno was like, nah, Sloan's my number 1. It's his spot to lose, and I'm giving him every chance. 1 from 1, he's come out and brained it, and it's like, well, impressive. And
to be fair, initially, that was our biggest gripe with Griffin when we were like, mate, give Sloan a bloody crack. Like, and granted, he's had a fair few cracks since then, but initially that was our concern with Anthony Griffin was like, get him like 1 or 2 games and you're punting him. How's it going to help a young kid's development? And so maybe the key to all this was a fresh start with a coach that fully backed him in and just said, mate, you're my man. My favourite part of Sloan's game was 2 try savers in the friggin' first half.
Yep.
Like that, he put his body in front and essentially one-on-one tackles at the very least and saved a couple of tries. Like, we all know his attack is brilliant. So low amount of errors plus try savers, that's a good sign for the Dragons. Now we'll talk about Lomax. I mean, what a performance for a guy that apparently wasn't happy, didn't want to play on the wing. Look, maybe he wasn't happy. Maybe he was a bit frustrated he wasn't in the centres. But what I love about this is Lomax has said through his actions that, yeah, I could be a little bit frustrated that I'm not in centres, but doesn't mean I'm not going to go out there and rip and tear for the team. And I thought that was the best attitude that Lomax has shown in a very long time. And if he keeps this attitude, he will be in Origin talks. Like, that was an incredible performance by Lomax.
Yeah, it was unreal. And if you have a look at the stat sheet, you'll notice next to Lomax's name, it's got 4 errors. I think it was all 4 of those errors came from
High balls
and getting under them. So don't get carried away with that sort of stuff. And the amount of tries they're going to score off kicks this year, even with him, like, you don't even have to kick it into his corner. You just kick it on his half of the field.
Yeah,
so he makes something out of it.
And, like, think as a defender, you know, usually you might have a tall, kind of rangy winger, so they might not be as strong in contact because you can get under them. Whereas when you look at Lomax, how well-rounded he is. So he's got strength in contact. He's got great footwork. He's got a great offload. He's good under the high ball. Like, he has so many weapons that as a winger, you've got to be constantly on guard as to which weapon he's going to choose to use in that set.
He'll be a great finisher. I think he's going to have a big work rate. I can see him being one of them wingers that has 20-plus runs a game, which will take so much pressure off this forward pack.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm paying way more money for this version of Lomax than I am the centre that's got a really good flick pass that can set up try assists. Yep. Like, this version of Lomax is way more valuable on the open market than the really good centre that has a good flick pass version of Lomax.
In an ordinary Dragon side in recent years, it's a hard gig being a centre, getting that early ball. There's a lot of pressure for you to create something. On the wing, you just put him in a little bit of space with a little bit of an overlap or chasing the kick, whatever it might be. Or, you know, being on the wing, it allows him to roam around a little bit more and be a bit more free.
Yeah.
Good things will happen.
We saw towards the end of the game, I think he was coming in for an inside ball.
Yeah.
So, yeah, really happy for both Lomax and Sloan because there's so much, like, at a bottom tier club, the amount of talk and pressure around them was quite substantial. And they have responded in kind and said, all right, all that chat, we'll show you guys what the reality is. And they've nailed it. Another guy, Flanagan. Probably the best Flanagan's looked in, what do you reckon, 4 or 5 years?
I think so.
Easily.
Yeah.
You know, he's doing exactly what Benny Hunt needs in good ball, and that's just giving him good ball. Like, you know, Benny Hunt has been, because he is quite a unique 7, he hasn't really had a halves partner that also can be a good ball player. Like, Amon is more of a ball running half, so usually Hunt is trying to put him in position. Whereas if you've got a guy like Flanagan, who, look, I'm going to be honest, I think Flanagan is playing 7. He just has a 6 jersey on his back. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. If you put Flanagan that can just get deep into the line, give him good quality ball, Benny Hunt will make it work. Ended up having, I think, 2 try assists in this game, Benny Hunt. Yep, 2 try assists in this game, 117, 24 runs. Hunt, like, honestly, it reads like a 5/8 stats, to be honest. Then he had 70 tackles, only 1 miss, a line break assist, and an offload. Bloody good stuff.
Yeah, unreal. And once again, credit to Shane Flanagan. I think a little bit outside the box there with how he's working. We want to see it long term, but you can only judge them on what we've seen so far. They've ticked all the boxes.
And we sat there and went like, even the move in the Jack Bird to send, you go, none of us were against it by any means, to be like, do they just need his strike in the pack on the edge there? Now all of a sudden you've got Sewer, who looks tremendous, Fatala Mariner, who looked dead and buried in his career, who was terrific on the edge. You've got Luciano Leilua to come back into the team. All of a sudden, like, that looks like a master stroke. It got Lomax to the wing, Sloan 1-for-1, killing it at fullback.
Well, let's have a look at this. So at full strength, they will have either Molo or Eisenhuth starting off the bench, and they will have Raymond Fatala Mariner probably starting off the bench. Like, that bench becomes a strong bench now.
Yep, very strong.
With a full strength side, if they can keep this form up. But yeah, like, where did that come from? I mean, we know where it come from with RFM. Like, he has always had that talent, but we haven't seen that for, what do you reckon, 3 years?
I think where did it come from is completely fair. We haven't seen close to that in years since Dean Pay was coaching him.
Every time he touched the ball, he was dangerous.
Yep.
Like, every single time you're going, oh shit. And so yeah, that's great stuff. Little, you know, outstanding as well.
Just want to see him stay fit, don't you?
Yeah.
Such a good footballer. Just stay on the park, little fella.
Another positive for the Dragons is Fifita, got a debut, got through his work. So that's another young forward that's being blooded and getting through his work in a win for the side.
I like the look of him. He didn't get to play too many minutes, but I think he's got a future.
Well, like, the good thing for the Dragons is if they keep playing like this, they have the luxury of easing him into it, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas the Dragons of last year are almost desperate for an explosive forward to stand out. So really, really good stuff. I mean, yeah, what a bloody good performance for the... I mean, what's crazy is, out of all those outside backs, you probably would have tipped Ravalawa to have the most metres, and he had the least by a substantial margin.
Yeah.
Which is, it shows you how strong that this back is. Obviously, shout out to Sully.
How fit do they all look with him being the pin-up boy for it? Sully is the fittest I've ever seen that man.
I will say, the commentators kept saying, like, oh, Sully not known for his work out of his own end. I was like,
crap.
Pretty sure he's only known for his work out of his own end. That's what he does the best. He's coming out of his own end, the big beast.
He's had a ton of runs in recent years.
Yeah, like that's been his go-to.
Yeah.
If anything, the question with Sully is just defensive reach sometimes.
Yeah.
Over 200 metres. He also diffused a beautiful bomb. I don't know if you saw that as well. Over his head.
Yep.
Timmy and I have got our Bloke AFL side chat that we were having a quick chat in. And like, how about the
And
clunk on this bloke?
time into your shit.
How about the clunk on this bloke? And yeah, he
Sydney
looks,
Swan colours too.
looks good in red and white. Would love to have you on board down there. No, he's just like a credit. You said it in the preseason though. Credit to him, like from where he's been a couple of years ago. Moses Sully looks fit, looks good, ran for over 200 metres, took a great clunk. Yeah, he's having a great 2024. Timmy and I refer to it as a clunk in the AFL chat.
You know I don't speak Spanish, Bachelor. The Molo brothers, how good have they been?
Yeah, unreal. There's always just been something about those two, hasn't there?
Yeah. Like, especially Michael Molo, young fella coming through. Like, almost unsung heroes. I thought Francis was good last year too.
Both got nice hands too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sully averaged 131 metres last year and 143 the year before from centre. Bloody good going.
That sounds like a centre that gets through his work out of his own. Anyway, yeah, great stuff for the Dragons. Really exciting. And look, there's Dragons fan, there's going to be people that are going to try to take the shine off the win and go, oh, you got to do it for a whole season. Just enjoy it. Like, played really well. Yes, we hope that they can be consistent for the rest of the year. But at the end of the day, from what we've seen, fantastic performance. And there's really, like, out of that performance, the only thing you could kind of nitpick at, maybe a higher, like 78% completion, but I'm pretty happy with that.
Mate, I look at the 28-4 line, 28-4 score line and see that completion of 78 and go, oh, if they can up that, why not more? Like,
yeah.
What a good sign.
Now, onto the Titans. Yeah, really disappointing. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, on that completion rate, is that a bit thrown out because of the amount of times Lomax dropped the ball on last tackle too?
Yeah, maybe.
I reckon there's a sniff that it might be.
Does it drop the ball in the fifth count as a... Because isn't it just a restart? Like a...
Great question. I would have thought if it's a drop the ball on the fifth tackle, it's a completion.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. It's a great.
I think it'd be a completion, wouldn't it? Because it's just like
You've
kicking.
gotten through your set.
Yeah, you've gotten through the set. Be interesting to find out.
Yeah.
Neither would shock me.
What I do know, and they were saying, I think Vossi was saying it, if you get a 6 again, that counts as a completion. So sometimes that can be a bit deceptive.
Yeah, okay, right.
So you can get like 3 tackles in, get a 6 again, that's 1 set completed.
For sure.
And so you basically, when you complete that set, you're getting 2 for 1 pretty much.
Yeah, seems like you get mate, same concept. The first tackle penalty.
Mad Bundo.
2 for 1 completion sets.
Yeah. Back to you, mate. Your chat was better than mine.